Hello people, another little video for you. This one is in relation to court decorum, or how courts are set up. First of all, we're going to look at an actual court. This is a Judge Judy courtroom. We're just going to look at it and literally just see what's going on. So in any courtroom situation like this would be like a pre-trial meeting. Something that someone's prosecuting and someone's defending, usually. And what they do, they have their day in court, and this is like a pre-trial day. Then the judge will sit down and look at the evidence, look at the facts, and establish what the controversy is, and who's in the right and who's in the wrong. And should needs must, then by all means, this can go from a tribunal setting, if you like, into a full-blown trial by jury, as is the right that everyone in the Commonwealth has. But essentially, very simple matters do not need to go to a trial by jury because it's just a point of law, and the judge. I mean, it's self-evident who's the wrong. To a judicial member, it's quite often it's self-evident where the wrong is and where's the liability. Quite often, it's just a case of where does the liability lie, and the judge will ask some questions like they do in all of these shows that you see in America. Thank God that they record these things. But don't be tricked into thinking that this is a common law court. This is a binding arbitration, as Judge Judy has said in her own words many a times. So it's a legal setting as a binding arbitration, but Judge Judy does it so well because she copies the common law format almost picture perfect. Now, so in this case, on the right, so on the far side there would not usually be the people bringing the claim, I believe. But it doesn't really matter which side you sit on, as long as you obviously make it aware in your court rules where you're going to be. But essentially, they come in, they present their facts, the judge looks at it, da 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 da. Oh, I've just got some questions for the defence, and the defence would put in question the facts and evidence, witnesses, and all that stuff as is your right as a defendant. Okay, so look at this. So you got a challenger, you got like a contender, and you've got the referee. Okay, and we're gonna now look at this. This setting is no different from now this is obviously like a civil dispute, a debt liability responsible. Someone's done something wrong. Let's get my money back. These people have not paid me my money back. Something along those kind of lines. And the judge will look at that. Now let's look. I want to change this and see how it goes in. Well, this is the real world because these cases are real. The judgments are real. The decisions are final, as they say. If you volunteer to enter this courtroom, these four people, so these two people have asked these people to come into this courtroom setting and be tried by Judge Judy, and probably for self-indulgent reasons, they've decided to go on TV and air their grievances on the national TV rather than just a local public courthouse. Fair enough. Now let's look at the way that a boxing ring. I love boxing rings because it's no different. So imagine you're prosecute. So here, who's the type? Oh yeah. So I think in this case, this is a boxing match which happened quite recently in the summer, and we had let's put it in time context for YouTube being everlasting. The summer of 2017, Hay versus Klitschko. So Hay is the champion, okay, and Klitschko is the challenger. So what that actually means in court, and here's Judge Judy if you like. So what that actually means is that the defendant, right, is the champion. The defendant has everything to lose. He's not going to gain anything. He's the world champion. He's not going to gain anything by fighting a defender other than keeping his belt, keeping his title. Okay. So he is the defendant, and the prosecutor in this case, I am pursuing you, prosecutor. I am pursuing you with hostile intent. And I think there's nothing more hostile than the boxing environment. So I'm pursuing you with hostile intent to take what is mine. It's like trial by combat, if you like, trial by battle, where it's exactly what kings did to each other. I call you pretender to the throne. I am going to take the throne and the belt. But the boxing realms, obviously, it's just a boxing match. So it's not really you've got countries or nations on the state. It's just like that piece of jewellery around your waist. It's going to be mine, and we're going to do it by slugging it out in a boxing match. But here we are. So we have Judge Judy in the middle. We have the defendant here and the prosecutor there. And there's no solicitors or anything like that. That's the first thing I want to just highlight. Back to Judge Judy. So why are there never, ever, ever solicitors, barristers, lawyers, whatever you want to call these people? that is probably the most empty courtroom setting that you'll ever see. There's no barristers or lawyers sitting in the court. These are where the friends and, dare I say, witnesses. Usually witnesses have to sit outside the court proceedings, but in Judge Judy's realms, normally the witnesses who have testimony that they can put upon the record actually sit in the court to help Judge Judy come to her verdict, probably because of the nature of the binding arbitration. Usually these people have to sit outside so they're not getting influenced by what's going on inside. Now, none of these are all like, studio extras, if you like, that's members of the public being invited to sit in. None of these people are lawyers. Lawyers have absolutely no rights to audience in these settings. And watch Judge Judy. The first thing she'll ever say to, let's say you've got grandma sitting down here in the chair, the first thing she'll ever say, or even on this side, wherever they're sitting down, the first thing she'll say to them is, were you there? Did you see anything? Were you there at the time, specifically? Because if the person says no, Judge Judy immediately discounts anything they have to say and will ignore them for the rest of the show, quite often, unless they step in for some other reason. But essentially, if they're not there, if they didn't see, hear, smell, all those senses, if they didn't use any of their senses to be able to testify to the court of the truth of the matter, then they're cast out, they're ignored, they're not relevant. So when you have solicitors and other people kind of coming up here representing you, which you can't have in a Judge Judy, there will never be a solicitor on a Judge Judy case. You just wouldn't, or a lawyer, whatever you call them, attorney, not unless someone's disabled or something like that. You have to have a pretty damn good reason why someone has to stand up there and talk on your behalf. So here it's very much man on man. This is the grievance. This is the controversy. Where's the law stand in all of this? Can we have a decision one way or the other? Bingo. Next case, please. And that is how quick and easy your right to justice should be. I mean, a Judge Judy case might take 20 minutes, half an hour. That's pretty much as quick as these cases should be. And if you look at my criminal justice video that I made, just exploring the linear process of an accusation and an arrest, going through all the court process, if you like, you can see how that kind of flows through. Now back to the boxing. I want to just highlight this thing. So when you're invited into a court, and we're going to listen just here very quickly to what the Judge Judy, because a lot of the preamble's been done before, the contracts have been signed with Judge Judy, and now it's your turn to go up there and perform. You've got to perform, guys. And what does the referee always say to the boxers? Let's try and listen in. So let's just listen. So he introduces and he goes through some rules, but we're going to try and listen as carefully as you can.
Okay, gentlemen, schedule the box 12 rounds for the heavyweight championship of the world. I'm going over the rules in the dressing room. I expect you to obey my commands at all times. Most of all, protect yourself at all times.
So two crucial things there. I expect you to obey my commands at all times. Okay. Much like Judge Judy wouldn't stand for any nonsense, or any judiciary or referee, tennis, whatever the game is. The referee's there as an impartial party. Obey my commands at all times. So orders, commands. Like, command is a very powerful word. It's an order, but it's an order with authority. Like you cannot disobey a command unless it's massively unlawful. But even then, to some extent, a command is pretty full on. It's not like an order where you say, I can't take that order, like a waitress might say, I can't take that order. We don't have it on the menu. Whereas a command, I command you, it's almost like a big order. It's a big order, basically. It's a big fat order. So so the other thing was protect yourself at all times. This is something I had a chat with Carl Lentz about. It's like if you're the defendant here and you're against some sort of legal entity, all right. So just put your face here. They've invited you. They're challenging you to be the defendant of the world of some sort of title. You are the defendant. You are going to get out. Only one thing's going to happen today. You're either going to lose your belt, or you're going to defend. You're going to remain the defendant. You're not going to technically win. You're just going to keep the belt, or you're going to lose the belt. You're not going to gain a belt for beating some chump without any titles at all. Like who cares? He hasn't got a belt to bring. He's just getting his ass kicked. So when the legal society are bringing you in as a defendant, they want to take something from you. You have to defend yourself. And that's essentially all you're going to do is get your ass kicked. That's the best that can happen is just walk away with what you had. Okay, so it's not a win. It might seem like you've beaten Klitschko, but actually all you've done is gone away with exactly as much as you had. Whereas in Hayes' case, he'll probably have a shed ton of money. But in terms of the boxing bragging rights. He's still just the champ. I'm still the champion, guys. Oh, great. Carry on. So now I'm going to look at something else about fighting. Well, maybe a bit more about the legal society. So basically, Klitschko's a world class boxer, and if you put yourself there, whatever your picture is, just imagine you're there. You think, hang on, what the effing hell am I doing in a boxing ring fighting against Klitschko? I've never done boxing before, and the referee doesn't care. Here you are. Hey, you're here. You've been summoned here by this guy to fight and defend yourself. This is his court. His court. He's brought the court on. He has to whip up a storm, and he's probably taking less money than this guy. He has to beg this guy to fight him. If he doesn't agree to fight this guy, it's going to be like the boxing authority's going to have to convince him. But ultimately, he has to defend his title. But you can pick and choose who you fight sometimes. But he's obviously earned the right to be where he is to drag him in and challenge him. And he's got to stand and do that. So just because you're here in a boxing ring trying to defend yourself, don't think you're definitely not going to win if you're there and you're not a trained boxer. And that's essentially what happens when the legal society takes you in for some magical legal challenge or charge or grievance or whatever the hell they call it. So and this is something I talked to Carl Lentz. It's like how does the judiciary, the guy in the middle. How does the judiciary allow this to happen? And it's because it's not his court. The judiciary just, he doesn't know how much. Maybe David, not David, was it Anthony Joshua's? Maybe he's sat on his ass since his last fight, and he's done no exercise and no preparation. Do you think he cares what his preparation or exercise has been? He's gonna judge the fight on what happens on that day. Okay, he's got no interest in your preparation. Obviously, you want to win. You want to train yourself up and be strong. But he's here just to, as he says, we've talked about the rules in the dressing rooms. You know what the rules are, like boxing rules. I don't know, no kicking, no biting, no punch, no headbutting. I don't know what boxing rules are down to the minutiae. But the rules of court will be established. And now that the rules of court have been established, you're here to perform. And this is something I said to Carl Lentz. It says, isn't it sick that you could put like a let's say there could be a woman here who doesn't fight, who shouldn't fight against an animal like Klitschko. I mean, and Klitschko probably wouldn't want to fight. But what the legal profession does, they don't care. They've invited you. You want to stand up and fight. You want to accept the title of defendant. Hey, guess what's going to happen? We're going to be beating the crap out of, well, figuratively speaking, beating the crap out of a woman. Like let's say it could be a pensioner. It could be a young woman who's like 21 or something. Who's not very experienced in the ways of the world. They don't care. They're going to take your belt off you. And the judiciary is literally sitting there to make sure that the court rules are upheld. And unfortunately, you get invited into this guy's court as the defendant. So that's why you're always going to get your ass kicked. So what do we need to do? Well, you, as Carl Lentz always says, you always bring your court. So you flip it around. Now you could have a haberdashery court, yeah? Now how good is Klitschko doing at how's his knitwear? His knitwear's terrible. And he wears boxing gloves and he's going to hold knitting needles, right? But now the 21-year-old or let's say the old lady pensioner on the left side is damn good at knitting. She's been doing it her whole life and she's got it nailed down. Now who's going to win that fight? That's right. The legal society court is of a certain importance, but in a common law land, the law of the land is the highest court. The law of the people, the customs and the people are the highest law of land. So lovely case, legal society. That was a great. Punching the crap out of an old lady. But let's go to the old ladies' court now. And this is what Carl Lentz tries to explain to people, is that the old ladies' court is the superior court, and therefore you can have whatever judgment or ruling you want in the boxing match, but the knitwork is the one that we listen to, and is the superior court in our land. And in that case, the knit lady will be the prosecutor, and this guy will then be a defender, and he has to defend himself against whatever nonsense he brought about in the first place. There's all kinds of angles of attack you can look at for that. That's essentially it. So he's, this is a court. This is a trial by battle. It's a tribunal. We've got two contenders and an independent rule keeper. No different from. Let's just look at that again. It's no different. Apart from we've got. Is it Ernie? This guy's hilarious. I love him. Okay, now there's something about when you fight, when you're in a courtroom setting. He says defend yourselves at all times. It's a fight to the finish. Yeah, we don't shoot, kill, punch, and murder each other. But we definitely, and you have to defend yourselves at all times. Yeah, so don't if you fail to defend yourself, the judge has to step in. And what happens when the judge steps in if you fail to defend yourself? If we go back to this, so if the legal society is taking you to court and you don't defend yourself, guess what happens? the judge just steps in and says, "Oh, you've lost, mate." And I was going to give you some examples of that, which would be on these videos here. It's like even in a boxing match, yeah.
Holyfield's called coming. Oh, what a shot! Doak's in trouble. Doak's in big trouble.
Michael Doak staggered.
But fighting back. He's terrible shape.
And there he goes into the ropes. Holyfield looks to finish him off.
And what does the referee have to do? The only person allowed in that ring is like the judiciary. The judiciary calls off the fight. Hey, guy, you know, good fight, guys. Well done. Lovely. And then he has to step in and stop it before anyone gets really hurt, because it's obviously just a fight for a belt.
Massive chest cavity. Can you find a heart as big as Doak's? Even so, he was fighting back. No legs to keep him up.
Yeah, you can't. It's not honourable, if you like, to punch a harmless opponent. So the judge will come in again and stop the fight.
Hard to explain. Again, Rosario holding on. Big trouble for Rosario. Rosario may be on his way down.
I mean, he'll give you every chance in the world to stagger around on your feet and be knocked around like a punch bag. But at some point he has to step in and save the day before you get killed, because it's not a killing contest. It's just a boxing match. Oh, anyway. So then the other thing I want to look at is the concept here of having to fight. Now, this is a little bit of a long video, but it's well worth doing it, because
mountainous task.
This is a fight between. This is about having heart and having fight and never giving up. This is a fight. I think this is Danny Williams against some guy. I remember watching this live back in the day, so God knows how long ago was this, but I couldn't believe it. This fight is amazing.
To turn around this contest, but then, as we all know, one punch in the heavyweight division can do just that.
So yeah, again, obey the commands. Because what happens if you don't obey the judiciary's commands? You get contempt of court. If you start taking the mickey out of any court you're in, whether it's a boxing ring or an NFL court or a pitch, McEnroe screaming at the umpire in a tennis court, if you disrespect the independent guy who's been invited there to adjudicate, or independently adjudicate the game, then you find yourself in a world of hurt. And in a court of law, that's contempt, and it's just like the biggest insult you can do, not only to the judge but to the Queen and the country and the people.
Williams must start coming forward if he wants to take these two titles home to.
Yeah, so on that, you probably missed that, but just watch his right arm.
Williams must start coming forward if he wants to take these two titles home to.
So you see that arm? His right arm is just dislocated. He swung in a miss, and he somehow managed, his shoulder's not obviously wired up in the best of health, and he's just dislocated his right shoulder there.
Somebody back the arm again, I think.
The shoulder's gone. It's come out again. He can't fight.
So he can't defend himself. He's got one arm. He's in court. He can't defend himself. He's got one arm. It's like a hopeless situation. This is almost what we get invited to in a legal court. It's like, well, how is this a fair fight? How can you be invited into a legal setting with legal complicated rules and expect to defend yourself? And of course you can't. You won't win. But in this circumstance, it's just I just need to be aware that if you've just dislocated your shoulder and you're in a boxing match, shit just got real pretty quick.
The corner look on as Danny Williams holds on for dear life in Mark Potter. He's completely gone the shoulder. I don't know whether he's looking at the corner. Jim McDonald is surely going to have to put him out.
To get him out.
He cannot fight on now, Danny Williams.
So the referee might have seen it, might have not. There's corner, might have seen it, might have not. I mean, would anyone on the planet blame the referee, the judiciary, for ending this fight because one guy's shoulder's popped out and he's only got one arm to fight and defend himself with? I think anyone on the planet wouldn't argue if this referee actually came in and stepped in and said, "Look, man, your arm's out. This fight's over, buddy. You're injured. You're injured essentially." But for some reason, this fight's allowed to go on.
He's now backed up in his corner. He's using one arm. Again, the guts of the Brixton fighter.
This is too early in the round, Adam. He wants to get himself out of there. Surely his corner have realised this. Look at his arm.
Well, I don't know what pain he must be going through in there, Danny Williams. But he hasn't even got a guard with that right hand. What's keeping him in this?
Adam, there's a difference between retiring with a bad arm and being knocked out, and he's going to get knocked out if he hasn't got a defence against these punches.
Absolutely. Look how far out the shoulder blade has come. For the second time, it's come loose in the fight. He tries.
Surely he's caught them clapping their hands to get back into the fight. They've obviously not noticed the arm.
How could they not do this? The courage of Danny Williams. We saw last night Andrew Gallotta quitting on his stool, not wanting any more. This man here is fighting for pride. He's in a no-win situation and he will not give up.
He's got no defence, obviously, against the left hook.
And still they clap in the corner.
Yep, they're clapping him forward. But... oh, he's got him! That's unbelievable! From Williams, and Potter is out!
Unbelievable. So even though he had one arm hurting like hell in a boxing match, he's still stuck in there, and he fought and he won with just his left jab or left hook. It's pretty amazing, really, and that's the kind of attitude you have to. This is the kind of attitude you have to have in court if you're going to fight. Now, obviously, you're not going to win if you're you and I in a boxing ring, because we're not trained as boxers. But you don't have to be trained as boxers to beat the legal society, if you like, when they invite you into their court. The only way that you're going to do it is to turn it from a legal court into a court of common law, which common law is a word that's thrown around all over the place. But essentially, it's a jurisdiction that predates legal. Legal memory? That's the word. I think that's the phrase they like to use. Is legal memory. Legal memory is all the time going back to 1285. I believe it is 1285. Now, before legal memory is sometimes referred to as time immemorial. So the law that you're relying on is the law that is time. Began in time immemorial. It's the law since caveman. Carl Lentz is often me Tarzan, Jane Steele bone to Tarzan. It's the kind of law you don't need to learn massive. Well, it does help to have principles, especially around contract law. Contract law is the only book I would ever ask anyone to read, because contract law is it's interesting, and we do it every day, and it's just nice to have it put down in paper and read through it, and logically, you kind of get an idea in your head. But the only other things you need to know about is the easy stuff, injury, harm, and loss. Injury, like blood, guts, gore, damage to property, loss of property. These are the things that it's so simple, that stuff. And the only other thing is a contract. So if you're in a contract, and holy crap, you've got to kind of wiggle your way out of it, or you have to go through the minutiae of the contract. But that's essentially all we need to know as dumb shit people, is that we're people, we have property rights, and that's about it. And do no harm to your fellow man. Treat people as you'd like to treat yourself, and it's as simple as that. And that's exactly what happens in a court setting of a Judge Judy case, like tribunal, if you like. The judge, the independent judiciary member, is going to look at the facts, present the cases, and watch every Judge Judy show, and just realise, why is there never a lawyer? Why do these people pay no? I don't know how much it costs them to take their case to a Judge Judy, but Judge Judy's making, she publicises this around the world and makes loads of money herself, so she might even do this for free. And why not? Access to the courts is supposed to be free for the people, because enforcing your rights is the most fundamental glue that makes a happy society, a happy nation, if you like, work. So the idea that you have to spend hundreds of thousands of pounds on lawyers, or tens of thousands of dollars, pounds, whatever your currency is you should immediately have alarm bells ringing on you, unless you're in a specifically legal kind of situation. If someone's done you wrong, someone's stepping on your toes, if someone's placing a burden upon you, then to find out what the remedy is, or find out where their burden comes from and how they think they can do that, and then you have to move the court. You have to get out of the boxing match, and you have to go into, in an old lady's sense, it might be like a knitting court. Hey, let's see how good you are at knitting, because until you take them out of their comfort zone, they're going to absolutely trounce you in their world, in their court, in their legal game of books piled up to the ceiling of code and nonsense. That's why I just ask people, especially if you're like a normal person, if you're a normal person, because if you're not a normal person, you would know it. So if you're thinking, am I a normal person? Yes, you are. Just don't read their books. Their books are for the administration side behind the doors here. And the reason they have to learn legal is because if they ever have a legal court in front of them, like Coca-Cola versus Pepsi for some sort of copyright or some sort of some sort of controversy between those two companies, then these people have to be able to hold court for them on their behalf, operating in the realms of the legal. But to drag your butts up there and have to dance and tap to the legal rules of a society that we never taught about or learn about, that's when you should start smelling the bad stink. And if you're not in a setting similar to this, ask yourself why. And if there's appears lawyers and solicitors on the other side, and you're standing butt naked on your own, you need to make the judiciary aware. Say, hey, who's this person? And you always have to speak to the judiciary. This is the only person you can see, and this is the only person these people can see. You never cut across that line. There's like an invisible wall between you, yeah, because you're going through an intermediary. And quite often Judge Judy, if you look, she always interrupts. Hey, don't talk to her, talk to me. Look at me, talk to me. Tell me what's happening, yeah? Because if you two are talking, if you've had all the time in the world to sort your problems out privately, and now you've had to bring it in front of the people and the public and the judiciary. So now you're going to start talking to each other? No. You talk to the judge. Hey, judge, what's going on here? Why is there a lawyer on that side? Dave here, big giant haystacks. Dave doesn't sound like a female lawyer. Doesn't sound like what's going on over there, judge? I think you need to sort that out. There's all these kind of little things that you need to get in mind. But I thought as an introductory video, just to the nature of court, what's going on, how a boxing match per se is just or any sports pitch is just a court. It's all a court. Tennis court, badminton court, they're all courts. They all have one side plays the other on an even playing field. Yes. So make sure you're fighting in an even playing field, because if you agree to fight in an uneven playing field, guess how that's going to end up for you.